Live from the Tiger Studios in Easley, South Carolina, it's the JoJo Cool Football Picks Show, week number 16, with your host and star of our show, JoJo Cool, and her co-host, Outlaw Jimmy James. Here's JoJo.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the show for another exciting week of football and news.
I tell you what, it was an exciting week. You had some great games, and we had some controversy. Why don't you get into that, JoJo?
Let's talk about Alabama and Georgia.
All right.
That was not a catch. I'm stuck with it. That was not a catch. They should have reviewed it.
They should have reviewed it. It was a push-off. They didn't want to review it because they wanted Alabama in. Yes, this was going to be a rant show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Alabama bought their way into the playoffs once again. They bought their victory once again. I'm sick of Alabama and they're buying the championships and everything else. Alabama fans out there, you don't like it? Sorry, but that's the way it is. Okay?
That's the way it is. That was not right. They put them in the playoff because they couldn't stand it for an SEC team not to be in there at all. But if any SEC team would have deserved it, it should have been Georgia since they went undefeated all season.
Do you know who I think should have been in the playoffs after this week? And I want to tell you why. It should have been Texas because they beat Alabama. Should have been Georgia because they're the two-time defending national champions. 30 straight undefeated regular seasons, football season. They lost this one game to Alabama, but Alabama lost the game like that and went to the playoffs. So Georgia should have been
Texas.
there. So Texas. Alabama, it should have been Texas, Georgia. I would say Alabama because of the SEC and Florida State because Florida State was undefeated. Why not Michigan? Michigan doesn't have a tough enough schedule like Florida State had and the SEC. Michigan should have been left out, in my opinion.
You're leaving out the big one.
Which one?
Washington.
Well,
they definitely deserve to be.
That's automatic right there. Yeah, Washington. I forgot about that. Yeah, I'm sorry. So it should have been Washington. It should have been Georgia. It should have been Texas and Alabama. Yeah.
Why Alabama?
Because they did beat Georgia. I'd give them that.
The greatest win of all time.
But I'd like to see them go up against Texas again and Texas beat them again.
Hopefully they'll be knocked out by Michigan.
Yeah, but Michigan should have been left out. So, but I'm hoping Michigan will knock them out. I really do. I'm just tired of teams buying their way into the playoffs. It's ridiculous. And we'll get into that playoff and hear a little bit more about the NIL. All right, Jordan.
Nick Saban is 31-3 against his former assistants.
Well,
He
teachers.
got his 31st win over Kirby.
Teachers know a lot, but Kirby's got some good victories over him too. Though, sure have.
Alabama's quarterback Milroe was 13 of 23 with 193 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. This was Alabama's 11th straight win.
After the loss to Texas, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were on a roll. They were worried, but some of the games they played weren't that tough either. So, but like Texas's schedule or Georgia's schedule.
Mm-hmm.
But they did have some cupcakes as they call them, on their schedule. They always talking about Clemson playing cupcakes, but look at a lot of the SEC schools. They do play a lot of the same teams that Clemson does. Clemson does just as well. And that reminds me, they talk about how great the SEC is, which they are great. But the ACC went 6-4 against them, this year in football, which I love it. So who's the powerhouse now? All right, JoJo.
This is Alabama's 4-0 in SEC title games against Georgia.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. I mean, the titles of the game they just seem they just can't get past that hump for some reason. I don't know why.
They are 5-0 against number 1 ranked teams in the college football playoff rankings.
That's pretty amazing though.
Despite Carson Beck putting up 21 of 29 with 243 yards, he also had that one fumble, which didn't really help any cause. That snapped their 29-game win streak. That was the most in FBS.
Wow.
And
That's
Georgia
amazing.
is the first team to be ranked number 1 and drop completely out of the top 4 in the playoff.
That's ridiculous. I mean, they shouldn't have done that. They should at least drop the 4. I mean, undefeated for
Alabama did.
3
They
straight
would've
regular
dropped
season games.
to 4.
Yeah, 3 straight regular season. Games. I mean, undefeated 3 straight years. 2 national championships. Almost another one, but they shouldn't have dropped out of the top 4. And I'm not a Georgia fan either. Okay, JoJo.
Let's talk about Florida State and Louisville.
All right.
Louisville's quarterback, Plummer, was 14 of 36. And FSU, they had 7 sacks, so that's something that changed the whole trajectory of that game.
Yeah, the defense really showed out that game. If it hadn't been for them, they may have lost it. Really.
And they went 13-0. This is the 3rd time in program history.
Wow.
And they are the first Power 5 team that went undefeated and didn't make it to the playoff.
Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, it's just a slap in the face. And, you know, it was the ACC commissioner and some other folks from the ACC who voted them out of it. So I don't understand that. Seems like you'd want one of your teams in the playoffs. I don't blame Clemson and Florida State both if they're talking about leaving the conference the way they did them, as much as they've done for the conference.
Mm-hmm. But apparently back in 92, Bobby Bell denied leaving the ACC twice.
What do you mean?
He didn't want to leave.
Yeah, he had a chance. He sure did.
Yeah, and he had a chance and didn't want to leave.
Yeah. And as much as they've done for the conference, as much money they've made for the conference, you know, all these other teams get a share of that money too, you know. So everybody win. It's a win-win situation for them when they're in the playoffs like that, when they're in the bowls like that. The conference, you know, makes all kinds of money, and then it's slap in the face to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not right.
I heard it was 120 million or something like that to get out of the conference. That's not like a lot of money for these two schools like Clemson or Florida State. They can make that in like one game.
Yeah, they can make a ton of money, and I hope they do start looking at different options. SEC is a big one. That'd be great. The Big 12. I don't want them going to the big conference, Big 10. I don't want that. But, you know, Big 12, maybe even forming their own conference with some other teams like, you know, Oregon State, Washington State, and, you know, who knows? We'll see what happens.
Speaking of Oregon State, DJ hit the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Some people are projecting him to go to South Carolina.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Some people looking at some other schools. You know, I don't understand it. I guess it's money talks, you know, talking about the NIL and the portal. That's ruining college football because, you know, some kid, you know, commits to go to your school, he plays. Somebody from Texas, which they're contacting the defensive player for Clemson, and they're not supposed to do that, but they're contacting them, promising them money. These kids are getting, you know, transfer portal, and that's what's going on. They're getting offered money, and they want to leave, and the team cannot build, you know, programs. You know, they can't build a program because of this. You know, you got these players, they want to leave. You have to go back and recruit again. Just keep starting over every year. You can't build on that program because of this crap. It just gets on my nerves.
Some people make about $1 million or more.
Yeah,
in a
it's
season.
ridiculous. You know, and some of them, you know, it's just too much money for these young kids right now. They don't concentrate on the football like they should. They're more worried about the NIL money, and it's just crazy. You know, they've lost the purity of the sport of college football. College football is not as fun as it used to be. We still love it, but it's not as fun as it used to be. It needs to get back to the way it used to be. You know, the conferences, the rivalries. Quit paying these players. You know, they talk about, well, they need something. I'm going to get on the high horse now. I'm mad. These kids are offered a free education. They're offered a free room and board. They're offered free clothes. They're offered free food. And they get a stipend every week. What more do they need? I mean, they've already got all this, but they want more. I mean, it's ridiculous. They're getting all this stuff for free, and they've got other students out there who are busting their asses. Yes, I said asses. With their education and having to work their tails off to get extra money to pay for their education while these idiots are getting their money free, and then they whine about it because they're not making enough. Pisses me off. Makes me mad. If you sign a contract with a school, you need to stick with it. Makes me mad. If somebody beats you out of your position, instead of whining and crying and want to go somewhere else, work your butt off, get that position back and stay there. It gets on my nerves. Sorry about that, JoJo.
Well, some players get that money and they're not that great anymore.
Yeah.
Look at DJ. He got money from Dr. Pepper and he didn't do so great after that when he was at Clemson. Look at Caleb Williams at Southern Cal.
Yeah.
He's doing a bunch of Dr. Pepper commercials this year. He's doing a bunch of Wendy's commercials and everything else.
As much as you like Dr. Pepper, they should have you out there.
I know, right? So.
But it just gets on my nerves. They think about that money, buying all this jewelry, all these clothes, all these cars. They're not concentrating on their studies. They're not concentrating on their football. And I know there's going to be some morons out there who want to argue with me and think they know everything, but you don't. I mean, they made a commitment. They signed that contract to go to that school. They should stick with it. I mean, it just gets on my nerves. I mean, they're so privileged. They can do whatever they want. No. You sign a contract, keep your ass in school and do what you're supposed to do. Sorry, folks. Y'all mean to cut. All right, JoJo.
Do you want to move on to something else?
Let's do it.
How about Texas and Oklahoma State?
Okay.
They think this might be the last time, at least for a while, that they're going to play each other.
Oklahoma State or Oklahoma?
Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I mean, they should keep playing. That's another thing I hate about the realignment. You know, Oklahoma State not getting to play each other anymore. I mean, Oklahoma and Nebraska, they didn't get to play anymore when Nebraska went to the Big Ten. I mean, it's stupid. I mean, these rivalries need to stay there. That's tradition. And it's a lot of money, too. I'd hate to see what happens to South Carolina. Clemson quit playing. South Carolina be happy, but, you know.
Yeah, right. So, yours was 354 passing yards with 4 touchdowns. That was just in the first half. He set the Big 12 record for a championship game. His overall was 452 with 4 touchdowns.
That's amazing. He's a good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Got another one waiting in the wings, waiting to take over. Wish he'd transfer to Clemson too. You know what I'm talking about, Manning.
Let's see. Texas scored on 5 of their first 6 drives. They led 35-14 at the half.
That was a butt kicking. We watched that game. I mean, it was a butt kicking. Texas was on a roll.
Since they're leaving the Big 12, this is going to be their last Big 12 championship, and I'm pretty glad that they won.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, it's sad, you know, no more Pac-12, no more Southwestern Conference. Teams leaving the conference like that. There's some good in it, but there's some bad too.
Texas had a record of 66 yards with 2 touchdowns.
No, that's 662 yards, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, 662 yards. You can read better than me. That breaks the Oklahoma 2008 record of 627.
Wow, that's amazing.
This is Texas's 4th win in the Big 12 championship, and like I said, their last.
That's sad, really is.
How about Michigan and Iowa?
Okay, that was a pretty decent game.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan kind of blew them out.
It's a defensive struggle, but it's pretty decent.
Corum had 53 rushing touchdowns.
53 yards?
Yep.
And 2 touchdowns,
Yep.
wow. And Iowa, 154 yards, wow, okay.
Yeah, they held on to 154 yards total and 3 fumbles. That was also a thing that changed the whole trajectory of the game. This is Michigan's 3rd straight Big Ten Conference championship.
Wow, that's unreal. I know what you're going to talk about next, and it's kind of sad to me.
What?
My 3rd favorite team getting beat in the conference championship.
Tulane and SMU. Yeah, they this is SMU's first conference title win since 1984.
And they're leaving that conference to come to the ACC next year.
So that was pretty cool that they won their last one too.
What I don't understand is why didn't they bring Tulane? Tulane wants to get to a Power 5. Why didn't they bring them to the ACC? Yeah, Tulane's
Not a basketball school.
Yeah, well, I didn't think SMU was, but you know, it may be. But Tulane's a good team. I can't believe they lost. That's made me sad.
This is their 9th straight win. That's the longest streak since 1981 to 22. I mean 82. That was 14 games.
Was that when they had the Pony Express playing for? Okay, wow. Yeah, it was Dickerson and
I wasn't alive then.
what's that kid's name? I can't think of his name. But they had some good running backs for him.
Knight had 15 carries for 75 yards.
Yeah. Wow.
This is like Tulane had won 10 straight wins so far. And they were held to 269 yards a total. That was a season low.
Wow. I hated that. You know, Tulane, they got a good program. They got a good thing going. They're going to continue. And they re-signed their coach too, which is a good news. Everybody's trying to get him. So thank goodness for that.
Yeah, he did pretty well this year.
All right.
We can talk about the Sun Belt Championship
All right.
with Troy. They won.
Well, can you believe that? I thought Appalachian State would beat them, but I knew Troy was tough. But Troy and Manhattan were pretty good.
Troy's player Vidal, I can't talk still, had 5 touchdowns in the championship game.
What have you been mixing in your Dr. Pepper?
I don't know. More Dr. Pepper.
More Dr. Pepper, okay.
So, the MAC championship was Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, Miami, Ohio beat Toledo. I thought Toledo would win it. This is unreal.
Let's see. SMU, Daniels Jr. He had this Jimmy Jam moment.
Boom.
He got hit by Tulane, and the guy holds on to the ball. He got like smacked.
I mean, he gets smashed hard. Yeah, he really did. All right.
This week we got 2 lightning in a bag plays. Number 1 is Reeves Poffenberger. He fumbled a score, he scooped it up, and then he ran it in for a touchdown. That was a round winning. He's doing the sound effects this week. Our sound
guy's not here today, so.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see. Oklahoma State's Owens had an amazing catch around the guy's head. That was pretty cool too. That was another lightning in a bag moment. Let's talk about overall wins.
Okay.
The ACC was, you mentioned 6-4 versus SEC teams. Let's see, non-conference teams against the Power 5. The Pac-12 was 7 of 3. They had the best win so far, like the best overall.
Mm-hmm.
The ACC was about 10-9. The Big 12 was 6-6. The SEC was only 7-9, next to the last.
I love it.
They're 4th out of 5. The Big 10 was 5 out of 8, but they still made it into the playoff.
That's what I'm
so did
saying.
SEC.
I don't understand that. The Pac-12 and the ACC did better than the SEC again. I love it. All right. That's all the news we got. So let's get into the only 2 games that we got for this week. And let's start with the one Friday night is for the FCS playoffs. Our Furman Paladins travel to Missoula, Montana to take on the Montana Grizzlies. JoJo, Montana's been kicking some butt.
I got Furman in this one. I'm hoping for a South Carolina win on that one.
Well, Furman said I'm not Furman, but Montana, the fans are saying you got to watch the teams from South Carolina because they will beat you. Now, Montana did beat them back in 2001, but Montana's been beat by Coastal Carolina and some other schools from South Carolina. And that's a pretty good pick, but I think I have to go with Montana. I hope Furman wins, but Montana I think will win at home, probably in the snow too.
That's not to be good for Furman. They're not used to that.
No, they're not. And one of the big rivalries of all time, Army against Navy.
I got Army in this one. I kind of agree with you.
I'm pulling for Army. I'm hoping Army wins. Our brother was in the Navy, and I'm sure he's going to fuss about it. Mike, sorry. But, Dad was in the Army, and we loved the Army. So, go Army. Well,
I think that's about it for this week. Next week we'll have a bunch of different games and more information going on. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Life FM with Super Dave, and New Crossroads with CK Consultants and Chuck Kirkendall and JRG Inspections.
Yep, one thing, and I also want to say thank you and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to everybody.